Today it's a very exciting day because we are here in Woburn, Massachusetts at the Boston Thermography Center. Today we are going to learn all about thermography, but before we get started, I want to thank you all so much for all of your likes, your shares, your subscriptions, and welcome new subscribers from all over the globe. This is very exciting. Thank you so much. And also thank you for all of your comments and questions, and please keep them coming. It is great to interact with you that way, and also it is great for us to be able to help you that way. If you want to learn more about cancer centers and hospitals specifically focusing on your disease, or learn more about clinical trials that are specific for your disease, so please visit our website and contact us from there. I want to thank you all so much once again for all of your donations, and with your donations we will be able to keep these educational programs coming. If you want to donate, you can do so very easily on our website. I want to thank you one more time for all of your likes, your shares, your subscriptions, your Google Plusing, and following us on all of your social media. This is wonderful. Thank you so much, and without further ado, let's get started. Now we are here with Karen Kelleher at the Boston Thermography Center. Karen Kelleher is the president and founder of Boston Thermography Center. She's a certified clinical thermography technician and received her training through the International Academy of Clinical Thermology. So welcome. Thank you so much for having us to filming you here at the Boston Thermography Center, and we will love to learn more about thermography. So can you please let us know what thermography is?
Okay, well, thank you. First, I'd like to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to help share the word about what thermography is and isn't. A lot of people don't know that this service is out there. So again, thank you.
Thank you so much as well. I want to actually learn more about what made you interested in thermography, and how did you even start Boston Thermography Center?
Okay. Gosh, years ago, I had a best friend when we were in our early 30s. Her name was Lori, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was just fluke how they found it. She didn't have a history of cancer in her family, never mind breast cancer. And, they did a mastectomy, chemotherapy, and she ended up passing away by the time she was 39, leaving a 10-year-old. And at the time, I was getting my master's in natural health and learning about all different types of, ways to eat better and what can affect cancer. And I had seen thermography in a magazine and thought, wow, this would be great if we could have this in the Boston area. What they determined was that her cancer had been growing in the early 20s. And even still, the tumors were not detectable by feeling them. So doing a self-exam. And so that's, it took me about 4 years to come up with the funding and to do that and get trained and get started. So that's my goal, is to really help women like her, actually not get to that point, is to start tracking at the earliest time possible so that we can see changes in the breast and help to, move them back to a healthier breast state.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what thermography actually is?
So what thermography is, it's a use of an infrared camera, and what it's doing is it's detecting heat being emitted from the body.
And the heat is caused due to what exactly?
It can be inflammation. As far as the breast are concerned, what we're looking at is the early angiogenesis state, where the tumor is being supplied by a blood supply, and that blood supply is going to show up warmer as we're looking at the breast and analyzing the breast.
And angiogenesis is the development of, or actually neoangiogenesis is the development of new blood vessels that supports the tumor, and this is how the tumors are growing. So with angiogenesis, with blood supplies, because there's a blood circulation there, the heat also increases, right? And through the heat, with the infrared cameras, with the thermography cameras, you will be able to detect that heat around wherever that inflammation or the increased blood vessels are.
Correct.
And usually those are either inflammation points or at the tumor site.
Correct.
And what is the link between thermography and breast health. Is there a way that you can detect breast cancer using thermography?
Well, first of all, what we're looking at is changes in the breast, and we're never diagnosing. Same thing with mammograms. Mammograms can't diagnose; it's a biopsy that does. But what we're looking at are the breasts to be symmetrical, and if there's something that's, and we can look at some pictures later on. If the breasts aren't symmetrical and we can see that there's changes, then that could be an earlier sign. So what we're doing is we're looking at how your breast health is today, getting a baseline. We're looking at assessing the risks of where the breasts are, what the breast health is. If we can determine at an earlier state that there might be something potentially growing, we can take a look at lifestyle changes and see if that can, and tracking and monitoring over time, if that can help reverse anything that might be growing.
You mentioned breast, but is there also other uses of thermography, not only for breast, but also for many other diseases or locations in the body as well?
Correct. So we can do full body scans, partial body scans. What we're looking at is if we do a upper body, like a cranial scan, we're looking at underlying dental pathologies, which by the way, with studies, they've found a correlation between breast cancer and underlying dental issues. We're looking at carotid arteries, sinus issues, thyroid health, which is very important.
I was just going to say thyroid, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times what's going on with the breast is reflection of what's happening with the thyroid, if their hormones are in balance. We're looking at inflammation in the body as well as nerve conditions.
And actually, we mentioned this just before. We talked about what is the correlation between thermography and breast health. But so basically you mentioned that you won't be able to determine whether or not breast cancer is there, but thermography is probably a useful tool to assess the risk of breast cancer. Is that correct?
Correct. So what we're doing is we're looking at the breast. And the doctor, I'm a technician, we have a certified thermologist that actually does the report readings for us. And so what they're looking at is the 32 different points in the breast, and they're measuring the temperature from one breast to the next. They're measuring the nipple, the periareola area, and those actually come up to be a score. So everything is given, a number per se. And that would also assess, are they what they call TH1 to TH5 scores. So we're looking at TH1, that's kind of a normal breast. If we look at sometimes a TH2 or 3s, that could be women that have fibrocystic breast. If we're looking at risks of 4 or 5, then there is a lot of times something definitely that could be potentially growing.
Can you tell us a little bit more about, all women, when they check their breasts, they always hear about mammography and ultrasound and now thermography. Can you tell us a little bit more about the differences or the similarities of all of these different techniques checking breast health?
Okay, so for thermography, we're a functional test. We're looking at that blood flow to that potential tumor. Mammograms and ultrasounds are structural tests. So what they're looking at are those tumors. And a lot of times with mammograms, it can be 8 to 10 years before that's detected. And the tumor has to be a certain size to be detected. So again, we're looking functionally, we're looking at what's going on with the breast as far as blood supply is concerned, or say if there's excess hormonal influence, which could eventually lead to breast cancer. With mammograms, there's compression of the breast. A lot of women get stressed out. It's painful. If they have implants, that can be a problem. There's x-ray involved, and basically it's an average specificity of 75%, which relates to a 25% false positive. With ultrasound, and again, I just also want to make sure this is related to everybody.
Yeah.
When you get your report back, our doctor, the thermologist, might recommend for you to get a structural test like an ultrasound or mammogram.
Exactly.
We're not against them by any means, so I just want to make sure that that's clear to everybody.
Yeah.
With ultrasound, again, it's structural. They're pinpointing a certain area of concern. So, for instance, if somebody comes back and we show that there's some issue that we want, that the doctor's recommending to get looked into, they may recommend an ultrasound to look at that specific area and confirm if there is something potentially that's going on there.
Is Tomography Fda approved?
It is. It's been FDA approved as an adjunct to mammography since 1982. And one of the good things about thermography is that because it's non-invasive, there's no radiation, we can be tracking women at such an earlier age where, there are some, mammograms, I think they're pushing it out to the 40 and 50-year-olds.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of women, the cancer is growing in the 20s and 30s, just like my friend. If she, if she had waited till they could feel the tumors, or it was detected by the time she was in her 40s, at that point she might not have lived if she had passed away at 39, but
Right.
it's just unfortunate. And with 1 in 8 women getting breast cancer in their lifetime, earlier detection is really what's key here, is getting a non-invasive test, tracking the breast health, and then, really looking to change your lifestyle or whatever needs to happen, or taking a look at that to see if that can help make any changes to the positive.
But I wonder, is actually thermography covered by the insurance?
Unfortunately, it is not. In America, we haven't found that it is covered. If you have a flexible spending account, we have had patients that have been able to get reimbursed that way or have it paid for that way.
Oh, okay. Can we reiterate that whether or not thermography can replace ultrasound or mammogram?
I would say it can't replace it. We're a functional test. We're not looking apples to apples here. Those are structural tests. What we can do is look at, okay, what is the heat being emitted by the body? Is there something that's happening there? But we'd never tell women, just come and do this and don't do any structural testing at all.
Before we get into final recommendations, what you have, or final things you want to say about thermography, can we reiterate that this is not all about breast health either, right?
No.
So can you remind us again, how can we use thermography in other diseases as well?
Okay. So, for instance, if somebody is finding that they have pain, or if there's inflammation in the body, that's one of the things that we can really pinpoint. Also, people that have any type of nerve conditions. And if you're going through a program, or say you're taking supplements, or you're working with a doctor to help improve that condition, we can actually visually see that. So you can get we can get a thermography scan, say full body or partial body at the beginning of your treatments, and then say 3 or 6 months later, and you can actually visually see that reduction in inflammation, or say where you might have had pain.
Great. And do you have any final recommendations or suggestions regarding thermography?
Well, I just would like people to be open and really do their research. There's been over 800 peer-reviewed studies of thermography. A lot of doctors, a lot of patients I have will ask their doctors, should I get thermography? And there are some that actually will send patients here, and there are some that have no idea what it is,
Right.
or feel that there haven't been studies.
That's why we are here.
That's why we're
educating.
here. So it's really about educating yourself and doing the research, looking at the studies. They could always contact our office. We could forward studies to people as well. And so just doing your research and what you feel is better for you. We can start tracking women at an earlier age instead of them waiting because of the radiation factor. To me, that's a positive, and that's really why I got into this, is to really help women so that we don't find that they're dying at an early age, leaving family members and children.
Right.
To be heartbroken, when really there's things that we can do to reverse
Absolutely.
what can be going on in the body.
Right, absolutely. And also, you will be able to find more information, not only on YouTube about our program here that we're just filming, but also some more written materials on our website as well, all about thermography and the difference between mammogram and ultrasound, and all other technical details you can find on our website. So thank you so much. And can we also see how the system works? Can you also show
Sure,
the machine?
I would love to bring you into the thermal imaging room, and we can talk about the process and show you what some scans look like.
Absolutely, thank you so much.
Thank
So
you.
let's move ahead then.
Thank
you
you.
so much. So now we are here in this room of thermography, right? And we have already the camera on, I believe. And there's this computer system that is connected to the camera, right? And so can you tell us a little bit more about how the system works? I think the person sits here, I believe.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about this and want to learn more. I'm very curious about this.
Okay, so first of all, we will talk to the patients before they come in. There's forms that have to be filled out ahead of time and instructions on what needs to, what they can't do, things that, they should do or can't do. And one of the things is we don't want them to come in with a sunburn, come from the gym. There's a whole list of just short instructions of what to do or what not to do. And so prior to getting the thermography scan done, once they come into the room, they would take off their clothes and they would acclimate to the room temperature for 15 minutes. It's really important not to touch the body because if you touch your hand right here, the thermal imprint is going to be right there of a whole handprint. So we have a stool that they would sit on, and we would go through their intake forms, and then we would start the scanning. So this is the flare camera that I have right here, and we have it's also attached to the software and computer system, and when somebody's sitting there, it actually is going to be showing real time on the screen here. And so what happens is we go through a set of scans. The process for the breast takes about a half an hour, and the process for the full body takes about an hour. And it takes about 2 weeks to get back about 7 days to 2 weeks to get back the report from the doctor, and then we'll sit down with the patient to go through the results. So for instance, for the patient, if they're sitting down and they like to see themselves also in the camera, from the camera, as you can see on the screen, I just sat down here on the stool, and you can see my face and the face into the screen. So it's non-invasive, it doesn't hurt anybody, there's no radiation, we're not touching you. It's just basically the thermal imaging camera taking a look at heat or coolness that is being emitted from the body. So as you can see in the screen over here, that's a picture of me. You can see my head, my face, my hair. What I'd like to show you is I'll actually share with you a picture of my breast thermography scan so you can get a good indication of what that would look like. So these are the cooler colors here in the color scale, and these are the warmer colors here. Under the breast, under the arms are typically always going to be warmer. That's why we have you acclimate to the room temperature. And this is showing you the different temperature variances throughout the breast. Now as a technician, we're looking at colors right now. The doctor, the thermologist, he is going to be measuring against 32 different points in the breast, right to the left breast, and really doing the measurements of, okay, what is our acceptable levels and what might not be for those 32 different points.
So this is great. Thank you so much. This is very exciting to learn more about the camera as well. And now I believe that you will show us more examples of breast examination, also other applications of thermography. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, great.
So this is an example here of a breast scan and also somebody that was doing a cranial dental scan. Again, this person is acclimated to the room temperature. It is a controlled environment. I don't think we talked about that before. The temperature is between 68 and 72 degrees. And so again, what we're looking at is the breast to be symmetrical. These are the cooler colors here. These are the warmer colors. And again, you can see, under the arms and under the breast are a little bit cooler, but you can see there's a lot of heat being emitted from this area. Also all along here as well. This right here was later confirmed to be breast cancer through a biopsy. When we're looking at the facial cranial dental scan, again, these are cooler colors, these are warmer colors. This is the right side of the breast. This is the left side of the breast. This is the right side of the face. This is the left side of the face. As you can see, there's some inflammation here, and it looks like there's some underlying dental pathologies that almost appear to be coming all the way down to the breast. And what they found with studies was if there was something going on, some underlying dental pathologies, they also found that correlating to the breast. If there was something going on the right side, it was also happening on the right breast. Or if something's happening on the left side, on the left breast as well. So it's important also to look at the full body or partial body to find out, is the thyroid, contributing to any factors here? Are there underlying dental pathologies, so that you can get a whole picture of what might be going on in the body. So for other applications for thermography, Again, the purple colors are more of the blue, are cooler. Red is warmer, and this is just a particular color palette that we're looking at. You can do this in grayscale and other scales, but this is just for your information as you're looking at this. So for nerve conditions, this right here is confirmed to be carpal tunnel, and you can see they're really, really cold. The fingers are really cold. For here, we're looking at inflammation in this digit. For full body applications, it's important to note that we do not see internal organs. However, this elderly gentleman, he was confirmed to have a collapsed lung, which is actually showing through, is really cold, emitted, out to the outer part of the body. For this here, right here, a lot of times fibromyalgia patients, what we see is, the trigger points, it almost looks like a V in the back of the body. Also, there's some, inflammation in the cervical spine as well as through the thoracic area. This right here is showing plantar fasciitis. There's a lot of inflammation, you can see that, and this point right here is usually really warm as well. On this side right here, we're looking at thyroid cooling, and also, some sinus issues.
So we hope this was helpful to you. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more cancer videos. And once you subscribe, don't forget to hit the bell so that you can be informed when we publish our new video. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.